Hi, welcome to SBR.TV for our betting preview of the New Year's Day bowl games. Justin Seven, of course, is here. We just got finished talking about the December 31st games, and I'm Peter Loshak. Well, the two themes of the day for the New Year's Day games are intangible factors due to coaching upheavals and the myth that top Big Ten teams don't have the speed to match up with the top teams from the SEC and the Pac-10, which is an idea that you hear floated around every year when these kinds of bowls come around. We'll look at those games in a second, but let's start off with the first game, one that I think I'm liking a lot, Northwestern +8 over Auburn. I think there might be some value here on Northwestern with the money line, which is around 260, as well as with the over, which is 54.5. Now, this is a game where both teams' strength is the offense. They both play a spread style, and they both play at very fast pace. So it probably should be a high possession game. Northwestern has a quality fifth-year senior at quarterback in Mike Kafka, and Auburn is having some problems with depth and experience in the secondary. If Auburn has trouble with Northwestern's multi-receiver passing game, I think Northwestern has a great chance for an outright win as a big dog. So if it's up-tempo, high-scoring, and close, I'm thinking the over 54.5 and Northwestern on the money line are good bets. Justin, what do you think of that one?
Well, I don't have a strong opinion on it. If I had to pick a side, I would pick Northwestern in the over. I made the line Auburn 5 and 57. So, this game is uninteresting to me.
Uninteresting to you. All right. Well, I think I'm going to stick with Northwestern. Okay, so let's get into the big games of the day, starting with Penn State and LSU. Now, LSU, of course, has been great in bowl games under Coach Les Miles. They're 4-0 in those 4 years, and they won those bowls by an average of 28.5 and covered by an average of 27.5, including two huge wins the two times they were underdogs. Now, this year is looking similar to last year for LSU. They're coming into their bowl game as a small underdog, looking very strong on defense, but with question marks on offense, at least in the area of execution, if not necessarily talent. But the defense is definitely there. Penn State, of course, is also, though, a team with a great defense, probably a more balanced and dependable offense as well. So, in general, what do you make of this game? Does LSU's recent bowl history mean anything to you? And do you make anything of the whole Big Ten versus SEC speed issue that people love to talk about?
I don't care about the history. I don't care about, SEC versus Big Ten. I made the line Penn State -7.5 and 52. So I think LSU's defense is just not going to be as good as people think, and Penn State's the right side.
Wow, 7.5. So is that definitely going to be a play for you?
I haven't decided yet. I'll decide closer to game day. Man, my betting schedule has just been swamped lately. I don't know what to bet. There's so much good stuff out there.
Okay, so now let's look at Ohio State and Oregon in the Rose Bowl. There's another Big Ten team, this time against a Pac-10 team, a very speedy Pac-10 team, especially on offense. So everyone knows the deal here. Again, we've got two top teams, Oregon with a great offense, Ohio State with a great defense. Oregon, though, has been really quite special, though, on offense with Jeremiah Masoli at quarterback. He's a serious multiple threat. He's very mobile, but also passes better than most mobile quarterbacks. And one well-publicized stat that you're seeing a lot is that Oregon scored at least 37 points in every conference game that he played in. So they're looking a bit unstoppable on offense. And the question is, will Ohio State's D be able to do anything different? So I'm wondering what kind of light your model can shed on that.
Well, like all the other games in the bowl, I'm pretty much fading every Pac-10 team, including Oregon. I made Ohio State a 1-point favorite, so I certainly wouldn't play Oregon State.
Really? Ohio State, a 1-point favorite. Well, I get the sense that a lot of people are leaning towards Oregon in this one. But, all right, well, so you're definitely not supporting the idea that the Big Ten is at any kind of a speed disadvantage in these big bowl games. Okay, and then let's get into the games that deal with the second theme of the day here, which is teams with coaching upheavals. Now, I'm going to assume that you're going to ignore this factor since it's impossible to quantify, but we'll see what you have to say about the games in general. First up, let's talk about Florida State. The Florida State game, of course, playing in the Gator Bowl, which is Bobby Bowden's last game, as everyone knows. It's a huge, huge game, of course, played in Florida. They're bringing extra seats into the stadium and all that, so it's a big deal. And in that regard, the intangibles, if they do mean anything, they favor Florida State in a pretty big way. But my take on it, if you look at this game on paper, by the stats, West Virginia just looks significantly better. Florida State has gotten gashed by the quality rushing offenses this year that they've faced. Georgia Tech and Florida, to give two good examples. West Virginia has a similarly talented run game. They led the Big East in rushing, and they're just pretty strong basically overall, while Florida State has showed, sort of a lot of real vulnerabilities in a bunch of ways over the course of the year. So I'm wondering about this line, West Virginia minus 2.5, and my prediction is that you're going to say that your model loves West Virginia and that by the numbers, West Virginia should be much bigger than a 2.5-point favorite.
Peter, you're dead on. West Virginia is much better than Florida State. I make them a 10-point favorite, and this is one I'll probably bet.
Really? Okay, so what do you think is going on here then? I mean, is the market giving Florida State a home field edge? I know you don't give, I know that you don't give teams playing in-state bowls a home edge, but maybe in this case they really should be getting one. I mean, why do you think this line is where it is?
I think there may be a combination of factors. One, location. Second, the coaching issue, which I don't think is positive. I mean, a lot of times teams play very well in their last game for a coach. Florida State's a mess. So I can't see. I'm a little puzzled by the line, but I think West Virginia's the right side.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like West Virginia too. I did bet them myself pretty big. Okay, and then what's your take on the final game, the big showdown between Cincinnati and Florida? Now, first of all, this line has bounced all over the place between 10 and 13 a few times, gone back and forth. So just as an aside, it's sort of an interesting angle to take note of. If the game lands on 11 or 12, I assume the books are going to get killed. But the deal with this game is, of course, Cincinnati had a great year and they came very close to playing for the national championship. Florida, of course, was Florida all year until they finally lost in the SEC championship to Alabama. And everyone knows about the coaching issues. The only difference really is that, and it's a big one, is that when Kelly left Cincinnati, it left an awful taste in the players' mouths. The split was not a positive one at all. Whereas with Florida, the drama with Urban Meyer, if it had any effect at all, it's a positive one for Florida. There's sort of a rallying around him as opposed to how they're reacting in Cincinnati. So I guess the question, though, is aside from all the coaching drama, just based on talent and stats, does Florida deserve to be a 12-point favorite over Cincy?
I look at this game. It's another one of these games that just like, what are they thinking? And I can kind of guess what they're thinking because who's heard of Cincinnati being a premier program? Florida's great. Urban Meyer, blah blah blah. 12.5. That's crazy talk. I'll take Cincinnati plus 12.5 as my best bet for that day.
That's interesting because I'll tell you, I did bet this game at opening at 10.5, Cincinnati. I bet Cincinnati plus 10.5, thinking that A, it was a good bet, and B, that the line would possibly go down and cross below the 10. But when I saw it go up to 12.5 and 13, first of all, I felt a little stupid, and second of all, I was shocked.
Yes, an accurate description, stupid and shocked. So you might even see a 13 on this one later.
Have you ever done something like that, like made a bet and had the market move against you like that?
I have made some horrendous bets, so yes.
All right, well, I guess it's okay for me then. Okay, so what's your strongest lean of all the January 1st games?
January 1st, definitely Cincy plus 12.5. In fact, that's my best for the 2-day stretch.
All right, great. Got it. Thanks, Justin. And that's our preview of the New Year's Day Bowl games for SBR.TV. I'm Peter Loshak.